So we are less than 2 weeks away from the Strongman Classic at the Royal Albert Hall. I know it's always a fantastic show. The crowd always come out and do a great job of cheering the guys on. But this lineup is unbelievable. So let's go through it. Right, so first up we have got the new and reigning World's Strongest Man, Mr. Rain O'Neill. Now, Rayno to me was so impressive at World's Strongest Man. Can't wait to see him compete again. I think it's great that they've sort of got him on the list for this show, and it's going to be fantastic to see him competing in the Giants Live in the UK and doing his thing. And obviously, I expect him to do really well. Next up, we've got Mr. Mitchell Hooper. Obviously, we all know about Mitch. He's a fantastic athlete, was so dominant last year, and let's see, perhaps didn't quite have the performance at World's Strongest Man that we usually expect from him. But let's see if he's back to his best now. We've got Mr. Evan Singleton. Now, Evan is a fantastic strongman, as we all know. Great all-rounder, pretty good at every event, hasn't really got major weaknesses. Did get a bit of an injury at World's Strongest Man, but having had the same injury as what he's got, it's a bicep tear and it's serious, but it's basically the long head tendon, which then you can sort of work around it and you can still continue to lift. You get a bit of a power loss just on bicep movements, but when it comes to the events we've got here, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I've been watching his training, he looks like he's coming in hot as well. And we've got Mr. Trey Mitchell, always a big fan of Trey, fantastic strongman, always there or thereabouts in any show he does, and can't wait to see him competing at the Royal Albert Hall. We've got Mateusz Kielikowski. Now, Mateusz probably didn't have the World's Strongest Man that he was hoping for. I know that he was very sick through the heats, which obviously is not ideal. There was one point where he literally looked as white as anything, like really pale. And obviously that's a big struggle. Those things can really sort of affect you in a negative way when you're trying to compete and it's hot and everything else. Obviously, he's against the best guys in the world, so if you're not 100%, you're going to struggle. But we saw at Europe's Strongest Man, he was looking in great shape and he looks like he's getting back to his best. So looking forward to seeing Mateusz competing. We've got Pavlo Kordiaka, finalist at World's Strongest Man this year. Pavlo's obviously an amazing athlete and looks like from his training, his deadlift's starting to come up as well, which was always a little bit of a weakness for him. It looks like it's improving. So if he sort of stays as good as he was at everything else and can bring his deadlift up, he's going to be a real threat in any show he does. We've got Mr. Paddy Haynes. Again, another fantastic performance at World's Strongest Man this year. I mean, really impressed with Paddy. I have been all year. I've sort of seen him progressing over the last couple of years and seen that he's obviously a real talent. And it's great to see him sort of really sort of fulfilling that potential. He's putting in some amazing performances. And I know a few people are a little bit disappointed perhaps that he didn't get an invite to Strongest Man on Earth. But I actually think that this is a good thing for Paddy at this precise moment. He's done World's Strongest Man, did well there, proved he's one of the best guys in the world. Obviously, great performance at Europe's Strongest Man as well. And I think for where Paddy's at the moment, he can go into shows like this, you know, being a genuine threat of winning the show. I don't think he's quite there on the events that they've got Strongest Man on Earth to really be challenging. Whereas I think in shows that are sort of more athletic based, I think that's where you really see Paddy at his best at the moment. I mean, obviously that top end strength will come, and obviously being a good strong man, you've got to be good at everything. But you know, Paddy, you can see the progression in terms of his like out and out strength. Also, he's an amazing athlete. He's very fit. He's very fast. He's very explosive as well. So I think right at this precise moment, I think this is a good thing for Paddy to continue his progression. And I think next year we'll see him even better than he is at the moment. We've got Mr. Lucas Hatton. Now, this will be Lucas's first Giants Live. He's done amazingly well in Arnold Classic, Strongest Man on Earth. Had some really incredible performances in other big shows, but it is his first Giants Live, and I'm looking forward to seeing him there. I think obviously we'll go through the events and stuff, but there is a log medley, and I'm really looking forward to see Lucas doing that and see what he does, because yeah, I mean, his overhead is unbelievable. And actually, perhaps the events at World's Strongest Man didn't suit his strengths completely, but he's much better all round than I think, people see the overheads and go, wow, that's amazing. Some of his squat videos are insane. But he actually moves well too. He's a good athlete. So I think he could do really well here, and he'll certainly be in the shout with trying to get on the podium or even potentially win the show. We have got Mr. Ben Glasscock. Now, Ben, I think it's great to see him sort of reaching these heights. I trained with Ben actually a few years ago, a couple of times when I was up training with Bish, so 4 years ago, and he was more sort of like a novice starting out then. And it's really great to see him sort of getting to these heights because he's such a nice guy. He's absolutely hilarious, I think, as well. I think he's got a really good sense of humour, and I think that doesn't take himself too seriously, but he is a great athlete. He's come on so much over the last couple of years. It's great to see him getting these opportunities because he's doing so well. He's getting rewarded for his improvements, which is always good to see. We've got Mr. Jacco Schoonwinkel. Now, Jacco is a great strongman. Had an amazing performance at World's Strongest Man a couple of years ago. Got injured. It's sort of not been quite as impressive since then. But I don't think that that's because he's lost ability or because he's not quite at that level. I think it's just some shows you're at your absolute best and some you're not. And it just happens like that sometimes. And obviously the quality of the competitions now is so tough that if you're even a tiny bit off your best, you're not going to dominate. But I think Jacco is genuinely one of the best guys in the world. Fantastic strongman. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him compete because last time he was over in the UK was World Tour Finals and he was really unwell there. So it's great that he's got another opportunity to come and show everyone in the UK what he's got, and obviously on Official Strongman as well. So it's, he's a great strongman and great to see him there, and a really nice guy as well. We've got Mr. Spencer Remick. Now, Spencer is one of those guys, he's just consistently pretty good at everything. Sort of just quietly goes about his business. Didn't get to World's Strongest Man this year, but has done the Royal Albert Hall a couple of times in the past and has performed well. And he is a real good strongman. He's done well at OSG in the past. You know, he's always going to be one of them guys that he's never going to let down anyone in terms of his performance. He comes, he turns up, he gives it everything. He is very good all round. And he's sort of one of those guys that just sort of sneaks up because he doesn't perhaps have those huge standout moments, but he's consistently very good. So it's great to see Spencer getting an opportunity, and I hope he does well and gets himself a shot at getting to World's Strongest Man next year because he's a quality strong man and he kind of deserves to be there. We have got, last but not least, Nick Guardione. Now, Nick, I think is a great strong man. Watched him compete in a couple of qualifiers for big shows last year, and he was really impressive. I thought he was really good. And then we got to see him at World's Strongest Man. Obviously, I have. Some of you guys won't have seen that yet. He's a good strongman. He's real good all round. I think he could do really well at the Royal Albert Hall with the events they've got there, the type of events. He's not really got any weaknesses, but he is a great athlete as well. And I think that sort of lends itself more to doing Giants lives rather than things like the Arnold and stuff like that. So I think we could see a big performance from Nick here as well. I will just mention this last one. They are having a guest for one of the events, which is Mr. Mark Felix. No prizes for guessing what event it is. It's going to be the Hercules hold, and I'm sure he's going to be going for the world record, or at least trying to beat it. And obviously Mark's always good value to have at the shows. He's a great guy, great with the fans. All the other guys love him, so it's great to see him still doing his thing. He might be a little bit older now and perhaps can't compete in everything that he used to, but he's certainly still got one of the best grips on the planet. Right, so let's get into the events. So event 1 is the log medley. Now, I always enjoy this event. I like pressing medleys, especially I personally like them when they're all the same implement. I think sometimes when they're they're different ones, it can kind of throw people off a little bit. And I know some people like to see that, you know, because you've got to keep changing your technique every time. But I personally like to see guys being given the opportunity to perform at their best. So obviously, without having to change technique on every press, you generally will get the strongest guy winning it in terms of just strength and not so much about skill, if that makes sense. There's less mistakes. I don't personally like to see people losing events because of mistakes, because you know, I personally just think it's about who's the strongest. I think if someone makes a technical error just because they're not quite ready for it, or it's something that they, you know, struggle with, I don't always feel that that's always a good thing. You know, it's just personal preference. I just like to see press medleys where they're the same object and they get progressively heavier. But that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, we've got some monster pressers. Evan Singleton springs to mind. Lucas Hatton is the obvious one. Massive presser. So yeah, we've got some big boys. Mitch Hooper obviously is incredible at the log. So we have got some really, really big log pressers in the lineup, and I expect to see some really quick times as well. We've got the frame carry. Now, it's the same frames as they've used in the past at Giants Lives, the big wooden ones. They are really quite tricky, and we've always done them in the past with straps at 400 kilos. Now, what they've decided this year is to go a little bit lighter, but without straps. Now, there's a couple of like things to consider with this. Is one, obviously, it's a grip test now, which is going to be tougher. The weight's not a million miles off. I think they're talking about doing between sort of 370 and 380 kilos. So it's not a million miles off what they used to do with straps. So the grip's definitely going to be a factor. But also the handles run right the way along them. So it's quite difficult to get the balance point right, which I know sounds silly, like you just grab it in the middle. But when you're sort of rushing and, you know, panicking or under pressure, sometimes you can sort of get your hand slightly off. So it does take a little bit of sort of just making sure you've got things right before you do the event. But, you know, I think we'll see some good performances. They're also very thin handles as well. So not only are they the full length for the implement, so you kind of got to, they have got a mark on them, but you've got to make sure you get the balance point right. But then also they're very thin. So, yeah, I wouldn't be totally shocked if we saw a few hands getting torn up on that. But I think some of the guys, Mitch Hooper, Paddy Haynes, Evan Singleton, guys like this, they'll just, I mean, they'll be sprinting with it. They'll be blasting through this event. So I think it's going to be fast and exciting. And I think, yeah, we could see some incredible times. Next up is the deadlift for reps. Now, it's the heavier of the two axles that they use with Giants Live. So the big wheels. I think there's about 10 kilos difference between the two of them. Well, actually, the globes, they're actually 330, I believe, but they make them 350 for these guys. They put an extra little metal plate on the outside. But the big ones are 360, but I've always said they feel noticeably harder than that. 350 to 360, for a lot of the guys, it's not, percentage-wise, it's not a big jump, but they, for me, always felt a lot harder and a lot heavier. Certainly more than 10 kilos difference. So, yeah, it is tough. But obviously, we've got some huge deadlifters. Deadlift for reps, Paddy Haynes is incredible. Reno was super impressive at World's Strongest Man on it. Mitch Hooper's obviously very good as well. Evan Singleton. You know, we've got some big deadlifters, and I expect to see some big numbers. I mean, could we potentially see someone getting close to double figures? I mean, maybe. You know, I'm not sure exactly what the record is on that implement at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's under threat. Yeah, we've got some strong deadlifters in this lineup. Next up is the Hercules hold. Now, this is going to be tough as well because obviously not only is it a tough event in terms of for grip, you've also got the frame carry before it, which is going to tax these guys a little bit. I honestly don't know who's going to perform very well, but I would expect after watching World's Strongest Man, Paddy's going to do well at it. Reno's going to be very good at it. Reno actually was only second behind Eddie Williams at World's Strongest Man, and that Hercules hold was very heavy. And he got a good time if he was doing it on this one, and I would say this feels a bit lighter. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But yeah, I think the lineup definitely again lends itself to some big performances on this event. I think there's a few guys with some incredible grips. It'd just be how much it's taxed from the frame carry for some of the guys, and if they tear their hands up could be the only issue. But again, it's a cool event. It always looks cool, and obviously on that event we get to see Mark Felix trying to break his record, which is going to be fantastic. Last but not least, we have got the Castle Stones. Now, like most strongman competitions, they finish up on the stones. It's quite a typical thing. Is the heavy set, so they're 120 up to 200 kilos. Again, as I keep saying, for every event, we've got some great stone lifters, some really impressive athletes. Rayno's great at the stones. Jacko Schoonwinkel's great at the stones. Evan, we know, is good. Whether that bicep's going to affect him or not, we'll see. Pablo Cordiaca, Paddy Haynes. You know, we have got some really good stone lifters in this lineup. So it's going to be interesting. And I mean, I suppose going through it, there's a few names that sort of jump out at me more than others. I would say, obviously, Rayno, just coming off the back of winning World's Strongest Man. Mitch Hooper, obviously, is always there or thereabouts. I mean, he wasn't on form at World's Strongest Man. And obviously, yes, he's had some stuff going on that probably did affect his performance. He still come third. You know, let's put it into perspective. He was still the third best guy in the world when he's not at his best. So, you know, that kind of shows how good he really is. So yeah, I fully expect Mitch to be in the hunt for it. I hope we see Evan Singleton in the hunt as well. And yeah, and I think the other one for me, I think certainly I expect him to be pushing for podium is Paddy. I mean, yes, the log press is not great for him. It's a bit of damage limitation. But if he can hit a number and sort of be the fastest to that number, you know, he could pick up a few points. I think if he could pick up sort of 3 or 4 points on that event, he would be relatively happy. Because then after that point, you know, you're looking at could potentially win the Hercules hold, could potentially win the frame carry, could potentially win the deadlift, and could potentially win the stones as well. So, you know, I'm not saying he will win all those events, but yes, he's going to drop a few points on the pressing event, but I fully expect him to be there or thereabouts on everything else. So if he comes in and delivers a big performance, there's no reason why he can't be battling for the win as well. So I think, yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Like I said, Royal Albert Hall is always an amazing show. The venue is incredible. Obviously, from pretty much Londoner like myself, it's iconic that we get to do a strongman competition at the Royal Albert Hall. I mean, it's just one of the most magnificent venues you could ever imagine a strongman competition would be at. And yeah, it's just amazing. And obviously, because of that, the lineup has to be good. And they've certainly done a great job. I mean, I was sort of looking through the lineup because it's not just the top name guys that you're like, oh, you know, it's great to see those guys. There's even some guys that it's just exciting to see him, like Jacko Schoonwinkel. Like, can he sort of reignite that sort of those amazing performances that he had in the past? Because he's capable, you know. Nick Guardione, is this going to be his breakout moment where he comes through and really sort of pushes for the win? And Spencer Remick, does he come in and put in a great performance to try and cement his spot at World's Strongest Man next year? You know, there's so many little variables and there's so many little battles going on. I just can't see it being anything but an amazing show. And I can't wait to be a part of it. Obviously, I get to commentate on it sort of between the events on the official Strongman live stream. And yeah, it's always great to be a part of that, but also it's extra special at the Royal Albert Hall. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. I think if I had to make a prediction right now, I'm going to say with the sort of grip event in there, I think we might see Rayno win again, like he did at World's Strongest Man. I think Mitch Hooper will come second, and I'm going to go for a Paddy Haynes third place. So that's my prediction on the top three. Obviously, these shows are getting harder and harder to predict because the lineups are so good. and the guys are getting so, you know, good across the board. You know, it's hard to say because they're so evenly matched on so many things. You're like, oh, I don't know which ways that could go either way. You know, there's so many little battles that could end up like that, and obviously because it's so tight, you know, if you aren't quite at your best, instead of being first or second on an event, you could be fifth or sixth because it's tiny margins between the best guys and the guys that are not winning shows now. You can't get away with any mistakes. You can't get away with having an off day. And I mean, yeah, it's just a way the way the sport is now with the strength in depth. There's so many good athletes, and obviously it's a good problem to have. You know, yes, it's frustrating if an athlete does make a mistake or is not quite on top form, but for us as fans, we get to sort of sit back and watch the brilliance of all these guys, which is amazing. And obviously, going back to sort of with the thing with the Giants Live, they're always putting on great shows. Every single show is sort of top draw. I come away from them and I'm like, that might have been one of my favourite Giants Lives ever. Like, I almost think it every time I come away. So this one's going to be no different, I'm sure. And it's such an event at the Royal Albert Hall. The crowd are amazing. They're so loud in there. It's it's just an honour to be a part of it. So yeah, that's where we're at anyway. I've gave my predictions. Obviously, feel free to drop yours in the comments. And thank you for watching. I will be doing some more updates on my life and what's going on and stuff in the near future. I've got a few things coming up. And yeah, it's just got a lot of stuff going on. Personal life stuff, as in like moving and things like that. And just not quite being so frequent with the videos. But once we get settled, there'll be a lot more frequent. And I've got a couple of things in the pipeline that I'm sure will interest people with regards to helping them with their training. I'm sort of working on a project that is going to be a series of videos, which is basically going to give you the sort of knowledge so you can coach yourself effectively. It's not going to be strongman based the first run through. It's going to be more sort of gym, getting stronger, getting in shape focused. But then obviously, if it's well received, I'll then go on and do something a little bit more in depth with the strongman. And yeah, it's going to be a full series of videos, some nutrition advice, how to set out your plan, how to set out your program, you know, sort of what volumes to work in and stuff like that. So that's a project that I'm going to start working on very soon. Thanks for watching, and like I said, always feel free to leave a comment, and if you've got any questions about anything, then please send them over.